This is ESPN LA 710.
Welcome back to the Lakers Locker Room Report. The Lakers fall in Houston to the Rockets 130-110, the final Sunday game of Kobe's career, and it was a good one. Kobe with a season-high 15 points in the first quarter, finishing with 35 in 27 minutes, 10 of 22 shooting, including 4 threes. Kobe went to the line 11 times and, again, finished with 35 points. Right now, we're going to pause for stations to identify themselves along the ESPN LA Lakers radio network.
With a show never stops. KSPN Los Angeles. Great games. Great station. ESPN LA 710.
All right, so with that, the Lakers have 2 games remaining in the season, and of course that means it's the final 2 for Kobe. Tomorrow night in Oklahoma City, and then Wednesday night at Staples Center, the finale against the Utah Jazz. And because the Rockets won today, that puts the pressure back on the Jazz, who right now are trailing in Denver late in the first half. Some other numbers from the game. And again, the Lakers had some good moments. They definitely came to play. They had more ball movement today. They actually had 25 assists, which is a really big number for them. Unfortunately, they also had 18 turnovers, and they came at the wrong time. And, of course, really the whole story of the game, the Rockets it was a close game. The Lakers got it down to 2 a couple of different times in the fourth quarter, but the Rockets just went crazy in the fourth quarter, outscoring the Lakers 42-30. And really the number of the game, the Rockets attempted 41 threes, and they hit 17. The Rockets ended up shooting 51% for the game. And that's why they scored 130 points. Anytime you give up 130 in a game, you're probably not going to win. Although, again, the Lakers scored 110, but the defense wasn't there, especially from beyond the three-point line. The Lakers shot just under 50%, 49%. Kobe leading the way with 35. Jordan Clarkson was next with 21. Julius Randle, a quiet 11 and 7. Very quiet game for D'Angelo Russell, who really broke out the other night, Friday night in New Orleans. But Julius Randle, only 8 points. He took only 5 shots and finished with 4 assists. Roy Hibbert had 2 points. Larry Nance Jr. asserted himself with 8 points in 18 minutes, and Byron Scott said he is going to play tomorrow in Oklahoma City. No points for Ryan Kelly. Meta World Peace back in Houston, knocked down 8. Tarek Black had 8. And Marcelo Huertas, 9 points and 7 assists. So he continues to finish his season on a positive note. The Lakers, as I said, with 25 assists, which is good, but the 18 turnovers and then letting the Rockets go off in the fourth, that was the difference in the game. So the Lakers lose it 130-110. 2 games remaining in the season, 2 more games left for Kobe. Tomorrow night in Oklahoma City and Wednesday night at Staples Center. Want to remind you that our coverage tomorrow tips off at 4:45 with Lakers Game Day as the Lakers get set to take on the Thunder. Want to say thank you to our crew here at ESPN LA. Adam Bronstein doing yeoman's work, double duty, triple duty. Thank you to Adam, also to George Briones, the producer of Lakers basketball, also working behind the scenes with the highlights as well. And thank you to you for listening. If you're listening in Los Angeles, we invite you to stay tuned for the State Farm Lakers postgame show, which you can listen to locally on ESPN LA 710 with yours truly. And Alan Sleewell will take your calls at 877-710-ESPN. But the final score today from Houston at the Toyota Center, the final Sunday game of Kobe's career. Kobe scores 35, but the Lakers lose by 20, 130-110. This has been the Lakers Locker Room Report. I'm Jeff Biggs on the ESPN LA Lakers Radio Network.
You've been listening to the Lakers Locker Room Report, brought to you by Pizza Hut. Order tonight at pizzahut.com. Gardens Casino. Get your game on at the Gardens. Hear every second of Los Angeles Lakers basketball all season long, right here on the ESPN LA Lakers Radio Network.
Oh, I'm just too tired for work today.
You need a 5-hour energy shot.
Yeah, I didn't sleep too well last night.
You want a 5-hour energy shot. It's the best thing since the wheel. Sometimes I can't believe it's real. Energy for work and some energy for fun and some energy for the gym. Drink some 5-hour energy and pump some iron. If you're tired from too much lunch, then try something that packs a punch.
Hey, now I really feel ready to go.
Thanks, 5-hour energy shot.
Lakers basketball is a final. And now it's time for your chance to react.
Hi, it's Kobe Bryant.
Light it up, Southern California. This is the State Farm Postgame Show on your home for Lakers basketball. ESPN LA 710. Your first chance to let us know how you feel about the game and how our Lakers did. Plus full game recap and highlights. React now. 877-710 ESPN. This is the State Farm Postgame Show. State Farm. We exist to assist.
Kobe against his buddy Trevor Ariza. Long three, 30-footer. Good. Why not?
Had to get a why not, right? Why not? This is it, the final Sunday of Kobe's career. Why not? And you know what? We've been talking about, hey, Kobe, we'll get to the end of the season. Let's just get to the end of the season. You know, let's talk about the team. But at the end of the season, we've kind of put it in the back pocket for the end of the season. Well, the end of the season is now here. This is it. The final week of Kobe's career starting today with the final Sunday. Disappointing loss. The Lakers lose in Houston 130-110, but some really good Kobe moments in this one to make us feel good as we count down now to the final two games for the Mamba. Welcome to the State Farm Lakers postgame show on the home of the Lakers, ESPN LA. State Farm postgame show brought to you by State Farm. We exist to assist. I am Jeff Biggs, joined once again by my partner and also the host of Lakers Talk on Saturday mornings, back from New Orleans and back here live in studio, Alan Sliwa.
Good to be here, Biggsy. They played pretty well through three quarters today. I mean, both you and I were in the conference room, excited about the way they were playing. No more having to worry about, hey, lose a game here and there so they can position themselves in this top three protected pick. Go get a W, and they played pretty well. And then that fourth quarter, I mean, every shot that the Rockets took from the three-point line seemed like it was going in. James Harden, 40 points in the game, and they shot actually a pretty high percentage for taking. How many threes they ended up taking? 41 or something like that?
41 threes, and they knocked down 17. Yeah. and what I was trying to convey to Michael Thompson on the locker room report, and I don't think I did it as well as I would like, is it's just that when they were just blowing the game open, they were just laughing and smiling. And I don't like to see that at the Lakers' expense, number one. But number two, here's the thing. It's not just about, getting right behind the line and taking a three. We're at a point now in the NBA where guys literally, they'll come up just past the half-court line.
Right.
And if you're just standing there waiting to think, okay, is this guy going to go to the left or the right, or is he going to pass? If you just stand there a couple feet back like Jordan Clarkson did, Harden, he'll just shoot it right there.
And it's not coming rhythm in the offense.
That's part of the game, no.
Hey, it was ball movement that got James Harden, that 22-footer.
Yeah.
It's him pulling up with 18 left on the shot clock, and if you don't get a hand in his face or force him to drive, he'll put a dagger. And when it's going for him and it's going for the Rockets because they take so many threes, they can score 130 points.
Yeah.
But that saying of you live and die by the three, Rockets are a perfect example. We could be sitting 3 nights from now where the Rockets died because of the three. They can be left out of the cold of the playoff picture where they're fighting with the Jazz.
Yeah, and you're right, and that's just part of the game now. So that aspect, and of course defending that and turning that around, and that's another topic for for next season.
Right.
But the other thing too, I want to. I'm not a big Rockets fan. I just don't like them. I'm not a
kind of with you on that.
I'm not a Harden fan. I don't like his act. I don't. Obviously, you know how I feel about Dwight Howard. And as I mentioned to Michael, I mean, here the Rockets are. They're literally fighting for a playoff spot. Yep. They are on the outside looking in right now, and yet you would have thought the game was played at Staples Center by the reaction of the crowd. I mean, they were going nuts the whole game for Kobe. And as I said to Michael, that would never happen here, especially if the Lakers had a Sunday home game where they had to win to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Right.
Would you hear them cheering on the opposing player? No way.
Well, the advantage that the Rockets fans had, and a lot of teams that have faced the Lakers have been so bad this season, they really get a 2-for-1. They get to not only see Kobe Bryant, but they also, in most of these cases, get to see their team win. And the Rockets, you're 100% right in the sense that every time Kobe had the ball and he took a shot and they're chanting Kobe, Kobe, they still had kind of control of the game, knew they were going to win the game, but that probably had something to do with it as well.
And I have to say, and I meant this at the outset, I think we've all just kind of we've gotten through the season, the ups and downs, the injuries, the will he play, will he won't play, and we've kind of put this final week, like I said, just kind of in our back pocket. Like, well, you know what? We'll get there. Let's just get there, and then, well, you know what? Now we're here, and I don't know about you, but I'm really starting to feel it.
It's a reality.
You were in New Orleans, so you felt it on that end. But watching Kobe, and this, as I said to Mike, this was there was some vintage Kobe in this one today. I mean, he looked great. He was moving well, going to the basket, hitting deep threes. I mean, he was pulling out all the stops, and just starting to feel it like, wow. I mean, he's almost gone.
You have to imagine a few of the games he's played this year or in the past, let's say, month or so, a lot of them are – there isn't too much of a meaning behind them. There isn't a meaning when he plays the Denver Nuggets. There isn't a meaning against some of these teams. But when he played Boston, there was a meaning for him. There was a purpose against Boston. I think the Rockets, there was a little bit of a purpose as well. Trevor Ariza is a close friend of his. He knows that he's going to be guarding him. They have history together and obviously have a championship together. Dwight Howard, we know the history there. And just that potential opportunity to put the Houston Rockets, kind of bury their playoff hopes if the Rockets were to lose tonight. He played with more of a purpose tonight. He understands that this is the final week, so he can pretty much give it all he's got, because after that Oklahoma City game tomorrow, we've got to technically the goal. The goal was, how many times have we said it, Biggs? Just get to April 13th. Well, April 13th is 3 days away. He's only got one more game in between that, and I think that the game against the Rockets tonight, you could tell that he was pretty much let the chain, let loose. What do you got to lose? There's nothing really left, and there's nothing to hold back for.
All right, so those are some opening comments from us. We want to hear from you, 877-710-ESPN, 877-710-ESPN. And when we come back, we're going to hear what Lakers head coach Byron Scott had to say. Kobe has not yet taken the podium in Houston. We joked about how the other night in New Orleans he got there like within 5 minutes, but maybe he's taking a little more time. He played a little more in this one tonight, so maybe he's getting a little treatment done. We'll see. But we'll hear from Byron Scott coming up next. This is the State Farm Lakers postgame show. We exist to assist State Farm. I'm Jeff Biggs along with Alan Slewa on ESPN LA.
Saying goodbye to number 24.
Steph Curry.
I think he inspired my leadership qualities more than the actual game, just the way that he came out every day with that competitiveness, that fire. It was all about winning. That was what he wanted to do, and he obviously won a lot.
Hey, it's Kobe Bryant.
Changed the game and inspired an entire generation to go out there and try to be your best. So he demanded greatness. He was very open about that.
You've been the home for the Mamba, the home of the Lakers. ESPN LA 710.
Recapping everything from our purple and gold's battle. You are listening to the State Farm postgame show. State Farm. We exist to assist. This is the State Farm postgame show on your home for Lakers basketball. ESPN LA 710.
I ain't no joke.
Well, no joke today for Kobe. His final Sunday game was a good one. He put in 35 and had some vintage Mamba moments. Unfortunately, the Lakers outscored in the fourth quarter 42-30 as the Rockets picked up a win they had to have if they're going to keep their playoff hopes alive, putting the pressure on the Jazz, who at the moment have a half-game lead for that 8th spot in the West. And right now, at halftime, Utah is ahead by just a point in Denver, 48-47. Welcome back to the State Farm Lakers postgame show. On this Sunday afternoon, I'm Jeff Biggs, joined by Alan Slewa. We're going to get to your calls in just a moment at 877-710-ESPN, 877-710-ESPN. But as you know, Nexen Tire has the coach's interview after the game. Let's hear what Lakers head coach Byron Scott had to say moments ago in Houston.
You guys were right in there until the fourth, and Bickerstaff always says they like to try to play a certain way to wear teams out by the fourth. Did you think they were getting open shots because of that, or what was the difference in the fourth?
Well, they got a few open shots. They just started making everything. I thought at times we were there defensively, and Harden made shots, Patrick made shots, Trevor was making shots. They do a good job of spreading the floor and keeping their spacing. And now, like you said, all of a sudden in that fourth quarter, everything seemed to drop for them.
How about Kobe tonight?
What can you say? The man's he's unbelievable at times. Sometimes you just sit there and marvel at the way he's able to play this game still at a high level. And, after 20 years of basketball, it's just, single-handedly, along with, JC, he kind of really just kept us in the game.
What do you think you can get out of Kobe tomorrow night after this? I know this is the question we ask all year, right?
Yeah, I have no idea, but he played a little over 27 minutes, so kept that to a minimum. We'll see how he feels tomorrow.
This is the second most points he's had all year. I mean, that's kind of crazy with 3 games left in his career.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, sometimes you just sit there and just go, wow. There's nothing you can say. I think everything has been said over the 20 years of his career about him. And so, he's probably not surprised by this, that he can still, put up numbers like this at all. So, he got 2 more days or 2 more games to do it.
Byron, I think we probably asked you about this earlier in the season, but now that it's at the end, do you feel yourself getting excited as a fan, knowing that it's that 3 at the end of the third quarter? Does that excite you more than just another 3 during the game in terms of the emotion that goes with it?
You mean the one that Kobe hit?
Yeah.
I don't get excited about a whole lot of things when it comes to basketball anymore. It was just like I don't get fooled by a whole lot of things when it comes to basketball. But just watching him, this year, especially this year with the games winding down, sometimes I do find myself in awe of watching one of the greatest that ever played. And that shot in the third quarter is one of those, moments where you just kind of shake your head.
You got to come out of coach mode a little bit when you're watching them?
No, I still stay in coach mode. I think for the most part, you're a fan no matter what. I can't get, too crazy as far as, being in fan mode or coach mode. I got to stay even keel and still have on my mind the game. So like I said, for that moment when he hits a shot like that, you got about a couple of minutes to kind of savor it, and then it's back to work.
Byron, I think this is Kobe's 5th 30-point game this season. Have there been any common denominators when he's had those kind of big games at such a high?
No, not really. I mean, I would think before this one, it was all most of those games, 4 other games, I thought was because he had plenty of rest. It was 4 or 5 days that he had off, and he just came back and he was kind of rejuvenated. His body felt better. But you can't say that tonight because he just played 2 days ago. So that kind of throws that right out the window. So I don't think there is any common denominator. It's just it was just his night again.
I think with Washington it was like a second night or back to that.
Yeah. So like I said, I don't have a clue. How he does it. And why tonight. It was just one of those nights where I think he was feeling really good. And we had talked before the game about about his minutes and what I was going to do, and he was all for it. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right. There you go. Byron Scott, courtesy of Time Warner Cable Sportsnet. And, of course, from Nexen Tire. Nexen Tire provides high-quality tires with the best warranty in the business. Learn more about one of America's fastest-growing tire brands at nexentireusa.com. Got to say, not only is Kobe coming to an end, but Byron sounds done as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys, including the head coach, is ready for the season to end. If we're talking specifically just about this season, right. We'll see what happens in the offseason with Byron. But, yeah, I mean, think about it. They have 16 wins on the season. They're going to shatter a franchise low that they had last year. Could potentially be 5 games below that. A lot has gone wrong for the Los Angeles Lakers over the last couple of seasons, but this year as well. I think a lot of these guys have checked out. Some of them are ready just for the offseason. They know there's no meaningful games left in the sense of a playoff picture or anything like that. Byron probably feels the same way, and you could kind of tell the tone of his voice in that press conference.
Yeah, well, my hope is, again, final road game tomorrow, and similar to Kobe, he's got the relationship with Trevor Ariza, he's got the relationship with James Harden. Tomorrow, he's got the relationship with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, more so Durant. Remember, they had lunch earlier in the season in OKC. Hopefully, Kobe made a pitch, but. Yeah, I would hope that tomorrow will be special. But then Wednesday, even if the guys are kind of checked out, you would have to think. It's going to be a
spectacle.
I mean, that's just going to be spectacular. And if you're the other teammates on the Lakers, come on. I mean, you just got to just let Kobe go off. You got to set him and allow him to go off. And
well, here's a thought in the sense of let him go off. How about they try and win a game? They try and win that final game. And if that's the case, if they're pretty much saying, hey, let's try and send Kobe off with a W, you can't really try and let Kobe go off. You have to collectively as a team, if that was the goal. If these players are in there saying, guys, look, we've had a terrible season. Let's end this season on a high note for Kobe. Let's not get blown out by 20 points, and then Kobe goes off in his final ovation. Not that it matters, but it would be nice for the Lakers to get a victory in the final game that he ever plays at Staples Center, especially the way the season has gone.
Yeah, I like that. I think, without a doubt, obviously, Kobe, priority number one, option number one, look for him every time down, but at the same time, as a team, as a unit, don't just give them the ball and become
30
a spectator.
feet away.
Yeah, but also try to win the game. Like you said, try to get the win and play hard, get the loose balls, get the rebounds, don't turn the ball over, and try to allow him to get some good shots.
Because the reality, Biggs, is a lot of this season has been about Kobe, and they've been very open to mentioning it, either the front office or Byron specifically saying that this season is about Kobe. Well, because that's been your number one priority, there have been a lot of questions that you and I brought up or fans have brought up in the sense of, all right, is this good for the development of the young kids? What are they going to learn from this season? There have been a lot of those question marks. So if the last game goes the way the season has, it might be one of those typical games where it's give the ball to Kobe and everybody else kind of get out of the way.
All right, so I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel it, and we want to hear from you, see if what's on your mind as we count down now. 3 days left. Tomorrow night in OKC, off day Tuesday, Wednesday night at Staples Center.
41 three-pointers? Who takes 41 three-pointers? They still hit 17.
The new NBA. Yep, it's the new NBA.
42 points in the fourth quarter.
That's why you need a new defensive plan.
And
yep.
The worst part about all that is the Lakers actually didn't play bad for three quarters. I thought there was good effort. I thought there was, in some cases, which we don't see often, there was some good ball movement. Not to talk X's and O's, and not that this game is so meaningful to the Lakers and moving forward, but there were actually some bright bright moments through the first 3 quarters. That fourth quarter just completely went away.
Yeah, they came to play today. That was good. We'll see about the final 2. 877-710-ESPN. Let's go out to the phones for the first time today. Let's start off with Solomon in Lake Balboa. Solomon, welcome to ESPN LA. How are you?
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
You got it.
A couple things on Kobe and one on the game. As far as the fans rooting for Kobe, it's kind of an interesting thing. It was similar to us Laker fans kind of during the season when that second to worst record was in question. We wanted the Lakers to play well but don't win. And I think today what you saw from the Houston fans was probably, well, we want Kobe Bryant to do well but don't win. Still we want the Rockets to win. I think that was going on.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
No, but I think that was probably what was happening. And regarding the game against Oklahoma, I think Byron really's got to watch him because he's going to be, hyped up, and it's, playing against Durant and Russell. But, let's make sure he's healthy for the home closing game. That is really the most important thing right now, I think, regarding Kobe. Today's game, unless I'm mistaken, if the Lakers, and I don't know if they could have won because Houston was, of course, shooting the lights out, but how many points off of turnovers? I stopped counting at 14 at around through the third quarter. I think they must have given them 20 to 25 points off of turnovers. And I sat there and I went, if you could just play basic fundamental basketball and learn how to take the ball out of bounds without getting it picked off, or learn how to dribble down the court without getting it stolen, you would have had a game on your hands today. You would not have been blown out.
Well, Solomon, just to key in on that turnover stat, mm-hmm. The Rockets took 98 shots. The Lakers took 83. The difference of that, those 16 shot attempts, not to say those were all based on turnovers, but it's simple mathematics. The team that takes more shots gives themselves a better opportunity to score more points, and that, in the sense, has a lot to do with those turnovers that he's referring to.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, too, 2 things. Number one, the first unit is they just don't look in sync at all, and at this point, I'm not going to. We've harped on that enough over the course of the season. Clean slate next season. We'll
100%.
See who they bring in. Mm-hmm. And number 2, Kobe's been a big part of. Hey, they're trying to get him the ball. They're trying to let him.
Get him the ball. He's not going to focus as much on defense. It's just naturally it's his 20th season. This is it for him. He's not going to be playing the defense he was playing 5 years ago, especially on a team with 16 wins. On the clean slate part, you're 100%, Biggs. We're really going to be able to tell who these players are starting next season.
Yeah, and we were talking during the game. You made a great point. Why is D'Angelo looking for Roy Hibbert on the pick and roll? Roy Hibbert's not going to be here next year, so little things.
And I feel bad for D'Angelo because that's the guy he has to play pick and roll with. There was a play today. He came off Hibbert's screen and roll. D'Angelo passed the ball. Roy Hibbert wasn't even looking for the ball. But that's where D'Angelo is going to eventually know, too, that some of these other players, hopefully next year, they're younger, they're quicker, they're faster. He has more players to rely on.
That opens up a phone line, 877-710-ESPN, 877-710-ESPN. Time now for the Subaru Santa Monica Lakers drive of the game.
Hibbert's wrestled to the floor, no whistle. Kobe's got it on the right wing, goes by Harden, reverse layup, good. Timeout, Houston. Kobe's on the floor. Lakers go back and help him up.
Kobe's got 22.
And that's a 7-0 individual run by Kobe in his third to last game of his career.
Yeah, and Kobe would finish with 35. Had a nice little shootout there with James Harden. Harden and the Rockets got the better of it when all was said and done, 130 to 110. But Kobe, 35, 3 points of his season high of 38, which he had in February against the Wolves. The drive of the game brought to you by Subaru Santa Monica. Stop by Subaru Santa Monica today and experience the new one price policy. Learn more about it at SubaruSantaMonica.com, an LA Car Guy dealership. Back with more after this, the State Farm Lakers post-game show, Kobe's final Sunday on ESPN LA.
Recapping everything from our purple and gold battle. You are listening to the State Farm post-game show. State Farm, we exist to assist. This is the State Farm post-game show on your home for Lakers basketball. ESPN LA 710.
All right, this is it. 2 more games left for Kobe. And today, his final Sunday game, Kobe comes up with 35. Had some really good moments. A treat to watch. It really was. Great to see Kobe going at it with James Harden and the Rockets. Came up short. Well, actually, wasn't short. It was big at the end.
Signed for 3 more years.
Yeah.
35 points in his 80th game.
To 110. The Lakers fall in Houston. Welcome back to the State Farm Lakers postgame show. Jeff Biggs and Alan Slewa. Great to be with you. We're going to be back with you again tomorrow night after the Lakers' final road game of the season in OKC against the Thunder. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and the Thunder. That'll be nice. And then a little calm before the storm. Tuesday, a day off, and then Wednesday, the finale against the Jazz.
And that game's going to be the way it looks like. Utah's playing Denver right now. They have a 1-game lead on the Rockets. They're up 69-62 in the third quarter. The way it's shaping up to be, they can't be tied with the Rockets. If they're tied with the Rockets, looks like Rockets would have the tiebreaker. Looks like that's going to be a meaningful game for the Jazz, a potential make it or break it. You win, you get in, you lose, the Rockets secure the 8th seed.
Yeah, and as I said on the pregame, with all due respect to the Jazz, if I'm the Laker players, if I'm Kobe, I could care less what their situation is. Wednesday night, our house. This is Kobe's farewell. We're going to do what we want to do. This is our will, our plan, our party. They just happen to be there. If they want to participate, great. But don't. Who cares?
And Utah's probably saying the same thing. Utah's saying, look, 82nd game of the season. Kobe Bryant, God bless you for the last 20 years, what you gave to the NBA. But we're trying to get in the playoffs, so they're probably going to have an exact same mentality.
Hey, you know what? Kobe actually just stepped up to the podium in Houston. So before we get back to the phones, let's hear a little bit of Kobe's final Sunday home road game in Houston.
I'll be back tonight. No, I feel fine. I mean, I didn't play that much, so my body will feel pretty good, I think.
Was it fun?
I think, yeah.
Fun enough with James Harden one last time?
Yeah, it was fun seeing him and seeing Trevor. It's weird being the last time, but it's fun. It's fun to see him.
If someone had said you have 35 points in your third to last game ever, would you have been surprised by that?
No. You know me. I'm eternally optimistic. I think the jump shot was falling, the legs felt good, and then you have nights like this. But I wouldn't be something that surprised me.
Kobe, in all these years playing against the Rockets, what kind of memories stick out the most?
Our playoff matchups, I think, are the ones that stick out the most. Competing against them in the playoffs, against that tough team that they had, taking us to a 7-game series was a lot of fun. It'll probably be the memory I remember the most.
Trevor said the first time he guarded you, you dropped 40 on him, so clearly he's improved. What's your take on going against him and his reverence for you in that safety?
Well, I mean, Trevor is truly like a brother to me, and we've been through so many wars together, and we know each other so well. And it's fun to compete against them. At the same time, it's always tough for both of us, you know. But, you know, like we were joking around today, like if you're going to compete, it's always, you know, it's better to really compete hard against your friends and brothers than it is against your enemies, because, you know, your friends and brothers you see all the time and they'll talk trash to you all the time. So, you know, those are the ones you really got to try to beat.
I really think you have a lot of fans that start.
The point of asking me that question is, what does that matter? That doesn't matter.
When you and James were kind of going back and forth there in the fourth quarter, was that pretty fun for you?
No, because I was sitting on the sidelines watching him go off. You know, James is he's such a fantastic player. And, you know, all I could do is sit on the sidelines and just shake my head. You know, like some of those plays he was making, the shots that he was making. You know, those are difficult shots for, 90% of the players in the league. And, he makes it look effortless.
All right, there you go. Kobe, courtesy of Time Warner Cable Sportsnet, wrapping things up with a press conference in Houston. His final Sunday game, his final road game will be tomorrow night in OKC. I always have mixed feelings about this because I get it. I mean, he's played with James Harden on the Olympic team twice, so they're friends, obviously much closer than any of us are with him. But just as a Laker fan and somebody that gets caught up in the competition, I never like to hear him, gushing over opposing teams' players. I know it is what
old
it is.
Old school mentality, right?
The fraternizing, and I understand that. But James Harden with 40 points today really went. What did he have? 16 in the fourth, or was it more? I stopped counting when I walked in here from the conference room. It was 16 when I left.
Something like that.
35
right
in
around
the game
there
for Kobe.
By the way, on top of Harden, on top of the 40 points, 13 assists, shows you how dependent the Rockets are on every single possession, potentially going through James Harden. That's how dependent they are on him specifically.
Hey, just off topic, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
Do you think the Lakers are there any regrets for Dwight Howard or for Dwight leaving? Do you have any? I don't.
Well, I will say this. In the NBA, the way the NBA is structured today, you're much better off having assets than you are not having assets. So from that perspective, do I think Dwight Howard's not what he was in Orlando. Orlando, where he was trying so hard to get out of that situation and that predicament, you can make the argument was by far the best situation for him out of any of the places that he ended up. Where the Lakers are today without Dwight, if they had Dwight Howard, if they had re-signed him and he decided to come back, at least if that's not a player that you want, at least it's an asset that you have to potentially go out there and get somebody else. So for that reason alone, yes, I do wish they had Dwight.
Yeah, and kind of tough for the good things that we've talked about with what the Lakers have done in the draft. You could also say tough to lose Dwight, tough to lose Powell, tough to lose Kent Bazemore,
nothing
Ed Davis,
for them.
All four of those guys, nothing for all four of them.
And that's actually the key, because the reason why the Boston Celtics are able to acquire these draft picks for getting rid of some of their players, and some of the other teams are kind of up and coming right now, they did that through the draft. They did that through letting go players that they didn't think they were either going to re-sign or players they didn't think are no longer going to be effective long-term for the team, and then they're able to acquire some of these assets. Actually, you know what a perfect example is that? What the Phoenix Suns did with Steve Nash.
Right.
We gave up 4 draft picks for that.
Yeah, that's right.
And not to say that the Suns are sitting in an unbelievable position, but getting a guy like Devin Booker and getting some of these young players, they're starting to rebuild.
877-710-ESPN. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go out to Mitch in Tarzana. Mitch, thank you for waiting here on the State Farm Lakers postgame show. How are you?
Good, guys. How are we doing? Good show.
Thank you. What's on your mind?
I think Lakers. I think they're set pretty good at the backcourt. Now, first with Kobe next to the game, I hope they just give him the ball whenever he's on the floor. Just give it to Kobe. Or you have to lose. It's just swan song. But I was telling somebody else that I think Kobe has more rebounds and points than Hibbert. I think Hibbert was a bigger stiff than Dwight Howard. Those two didn't pan out. It's unbelievable. You got to hope the Lakers gave Ben Simmons or the guy from Duke, Ingram, right. And maybe you could put Randall at center. I mean, because it's not a big man league anymore. It's over backcourt.
Yeah, you know what, Mitch? That's a great point. Absolutely. I agree with that.
In regards to Hibbert, him talking about Hibbert being a stiff, well, The reality is Hibbert just came in as a lease. That's all he was. The Lakers really just brought him over. If they could have got anything out of him, great. It would have been icing on the cake. But it was more about they have to spend a certain amount of money. With the new collective bargaining agreement, he was $15 million, very similar to what they did with Carlos Boozer last season. But the only good thing left about Hibbert is there's only 3 more games left, or 2 more games left for him as a Los Angeles Laker.
Don't say 3.
And then hopefully after that, they'll have somebody else that's younger, faster, and more in style of today's NBA moving forward.
And I'm being serious now, Alan. I will say this: while I may have thought that, I was hoping that they might have been able to trade him before the deadline, or maybe even it was a buyout for the second half, so they could use his spot, his minutes for somebody else. That didn't work out. Maybe they would just buy him out, let him go on his way because he's not in the plans. I'll say this, to their credit, to the Lakers' credit, I don't know what agreement they made with him, but I'm assuming they kept their word. They've allowed him to play this whole season. He's not going to be back, but at least they held up their end of the deal. And there's something commendable about that if you're going to make that kind of a deal with somebody or keep your word, then you do so.
What they could have done is, even if they kept their word and they keep him on the roster, he didn't necessarily have to be in the starting lineup for all these games. I wouldn't have mind seeing Tarek Black or another one of these players he's not today's NBA. The NBA is so much faster. The speed is just so much quicker that the Roy Hibbert style is it's out of date.
Well, defense, not what we were hoping for from Roy Hibbert this season, but it is time now for the McDonald's defensive play of the game. Let's take a listen to that right now.
10-point Houston lead. Now here's a steal by Russell. Russell into the front court. Bounce pass. Clarkson, lay it up and in. 3 assists for Russell, and the Lakers cut the lead to 8, 72-64.
So a quiet night on the offensive end, quiet day for D'Angelo Russell, but good to see him at least trying to stay after it on the defensive end. The defensive play of the game brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's has something new that might surprise you. Breakfast bowls, one loaded with egg white, turkey sausage, kale, and spinach. Not what you were expecting, right? Or try a scrambled egg and chorizo bowl, each for just $4.39. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Quick timeout. When we come back to the phones, 877-710-ESPN. We also want to talk about the game that's coming up at the top of the hour, the showdown in San Antonio. We'll get a little preview of that as well. This is the State Farm Lakers postgame show. Lakers lose in Houston, 130-110. I'm Jeff Biggs along with Alan Sliwa on ESPN LA.
Recapping everything from our purple and gold's battle. You are listening to the State Farm postgame show. State Farm, we exist to assist. This is the State Farm postgame show on your home for Lakers basketball. ESPN LA 710.
Welcome back to the State Farm Lakers postgame show. 2 more games to go for Kobe tomorrow night in OKC, and then Wednesday night at Staples Center against the Jazz. Starting to feel it. Really felt it today, and we're getting closer. We've kind of been putting off this final week, but the final week is now here, and we're going to have you covered all week long, wall-to-wall coverage right here on the home of the Lakers, ESPN LA. It's going to be great. I mean, really, when you think about it, I don't think there's ever been anything quite like this ever. Really, I'm serious. We kind of got to say goodbye, different little moments with Magic, but not quite the way that he wanted to. And, of course, Kareem had his farewell, but Kareem wasn't beloved. We loved Kareem. We were respected, but he didn't have the connection that Kobe has had.
And it's not like today's game where there's coverage 3-4 nights a week. There's games on ESPN, TNT,
social media,
the social media all around it. And Kobe has accomplished something that not many players have in any sport. 20 years with one squad, one organization, 5 NBA championships, 7 appearances. So there's it's the times that we're in today on top of what he accomplished is why it's kind of coming to this point.
Hey, Lewis wants to sound off 877-710-ESPN. Let's go out to the Valley. Lewis, thank you for waiting, my man. You're on ESPN LA.
No problem, guys. Hey, man, I just want to say real quick, to have 35 points without even playing in the second quarter, that's just a reminder of why we love the guy. You know what I mean? We know he's hurting. We know he's fighting through injuries. And sometimes we take it for granted how pain he's really trying to fight through just to get on the court.
Yep.
But so Wednesday, I can care less about the win or loss. I just want the kids to come out and fight and act like it's a competition. Like you could tell they checked out, probably a week or two ago. And, just go out there with a purpose. That's the difference between the pros and the amateurs in any sport, is the professionalism to still show up every night, regardless of whether it's been a good season or bad season. Come out there as a pro and compete as a pro, and everything will take care of itself. And let's just send Kobe Bryant out the right way. You know what I mean? And that's compete, and that's the ultimate sign of respect, is make this a competitive last game for him, and let the chips fall where they may. That's pretty much all I can say about that.
I like it, Lewis. Thank you, my man. I appreciate that. And, look.
He's a great call, by the way. Every time he calls in, he's got a great perspective and a great view on things.
Yeah, that's one plus. As bad as this season has been, Alan, I got to say, and I haven't done every single postgame. A lot of them you've done pretty much every game here the second half. We've been blessed. We have really, really not only great Laker fans, but really good, outstanding, great Laker callers.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the things Lewis mentioned there, that the sign of the young players about coming out here professionally, it's really good, Biggs, when things are going well to high five and smiles. But when things aren't going as well, that's when your character is shown, your true character is shown. And it's a good point. It's a good perspective. The Lakers have had an awful season. You couldn't have wrote a worse script for the Los Angeles Lakers, this organization, as prideful as they are. And this is an opportunity in this final game to obviously send off Kobe the right way. And hopefully the young players, if there are some things they didn't learn on the court, they're learning some things off the court that will help them down the road.
And look, let's be real. I mean, there's a chance, okay, as much as we're building this game up and we're getting hyped, I mean, there's a chance Kobe may not go off, right? I mean, it may not go the way that we want it to.
Of course.
And the Jazz are going to be playing for something, most likely. Mm-hmm. However, with that said, the fact that Kobe was able to score 15 in the first quarter, 14 in the third, obviously I don't anticipate him sitting on the bench for the entire second quarter and a big chunk of the fourth. So, I mean, there's a chance if things work out right, he could have a big game. He could have a big farewell,
Utah,
which is what we're hoping for.
Utah's ended up, they're up 18 now, actually, at Denver. So they were down 5 in the third quarter, now up 18 against Denver. So, again, the way it's looking, that final game will still have some implications.
Well, the final Sunday game of the season for the Lakers, the final Sunday game for Kobe, and needless to say, Kobe is our Fantasy Springs Resort Casino Lakers player of the game with a team-high 35 points. Fantasy Springs Resort Casino is located in the beautiful Palm Springs area, offers all you need for a fun-filled getaway or a complete destination vacation. Whether your fantasy includes luxurious hotel rooms, exciting Vegas-style gambling options, fabulous dining, world-class entertainment, golf, or poolside lounging, you'll find it at Fantasy Springs Resort Casino. It's a busy Sunday, Alan, and I think maybe a lot of our Laker fans are watching different basketball. We got the Warriors and Spurs coming up at the top of the hour. Also, the final round of the Masters. Jordan Spieth was cruising until he had a quadruple bogey on a par 3, and right now Jordan Spieth is 2 shots off the lead with 3 holes left to go. There's a guy named Danny Willett who is in the clubhouse at 5 under. He's done. So Jordan Spieth is either hoping to catch him or beat him in the final 3 holes at Augusta.
My game in a nutshell, my golf game in a nutshell, is a quadruple bogey on every par, just par 3 courses. That is my game in a nutshell.
Yeah, there's some tough. It seems like all of our station, ESPN LA station golf tournaments have some tough par 3s that are never easy.
I lose, I think they give us, maybe 6 or 8 courtesy balls. They just give all those. I have to bring another 6 or 8 on top of that. I'm very giving with my golf balls.
And the mulligans are always good, too, right? Thanks, Adam Bronstein. Nice reminder. You got to get those mulligans, at least a few each night. Hey, before we finish up, just to find some thoughts on the Warriors-Spurs round 4 coming up at the top of the hour
exciting.
In San Antonio. We talked about it on the pregame.
Yep.
You think the Spurs are going to pull it out at home, keep that perfect record? I'm not going to put much of a fight other than the Warriors need 2 more wins to break the record. And to me, the X factor, as great as the Spurs have been at home, is that this is one of the handful of games during the season where the Warriors, as defending champs, can dig deep and find a way to pull out a win. But obviously wouldn't be shocked at all if the Spurs won.
Here's what I'm going with. Before the season started, I thought the Spurs would win the championship this year, and I think there's probably a much greater chance that the Warriors eventually win the championship, potentially can. But I think this game means a lot to the Spurs as well. The Spurs are sitting in a position, like you mentioned, they haven't lost a home game yet this year. They have not. So they're playing for something. And I think on top of that, going into the playoffs, you think the Spurs kind of want to send a message to the Golden State Warriors that says, number one, not only are you going to break the record, you're definitely not going to be doing it or tying it in our house. And kind of that momentum. You don't have to be the best team. You have to be the hottest team at the right time. The Warriors have had some games in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks or so where you could have some potential opponents that thought there's no chance we could beat the Warriors. Now saying, you know what? The Celtics have beat them. The Minnesota Timberwolves have beat them. There have been some teams that you weren't expecting to win, especially at Oracle. And then the last time these two faced off, Warriors won that game. The game before that, the Spurs won that. That was in San Antonio. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Spurs win tonight.
Yeah, the first meeting of the season in San Antonio, the Spurs held the Warriors to a season low 79
That's
points.
right.
I mean, similar to what we saw here in L.A. at Staples Center, that when the Lakers beat the Warriors, Clay and Steph were off. But a big part of that, the Spurs did a really good job on Curry, just taking him out of his game.
And I'll say this, I love that the Warriors are going for the record. I love that guys like Draymond Green is very, very open to saying, look, we're this close. You better believe we're trying to get 73 wins. I know Steve Kerr is trying to kind of downplay it, but I love what they're doing. I mean, I'm rooting for them. Yeah. It is an accomplishment like no other and could potentially be the greatest in NBA history. So I think they should go for it. And I think tonight, just to have those two against each other with some of the circumstances and the odds that are there is a pretty cool matchup.
Yeah, and this is it for the Spurs, their final home game. So they have another game after this, but they can rest everybody. They'll get plenty of rest. No need to. Yeah. They rested everybody on Friday night too, so no need not to try and play and win this one. This is it for us as well. This is going to do it for this edition of the State Farm Lakers postgame show. Lakers back in action tomorrow night in Oklahoma City. Alan and I will be with you after tomorrow night's game as well. Alan, thank you. Enjoyed it very much.
Thank you, sir.
Big time thanks to Adam Braunstein. Outstanding work as always. Also, George Briones producing and working on the highlights today. Great job, George. Most of all, thank you to you for listening. The Lakers lose to the Rockets. Kobe's final Sunday game, 130-110, but Kobe puts up 35. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, Kelvin and Travis. I'm Jeff Biggs, ESPN LA.
Saying goodbye to number 24,
Greg Popovich.
To see him in this circumstance and just be rooting for him and to hope that every night he goes out, he does what he does best. It's really fun.
Randall, give it a Kobe. Another three-pointer by Bryant. Good again.
This is total entertainment to watch him now. Watching Kobe in his last year, I just enjoyed the heck out of it.
I'm going to miss that guy when he goes, and I mean Kobe being Bryant.
You're listening to the home of the Lakers, ESPN LA 710.
The State Farm postgame show on ESPN LA.
ESPN LA 710. Hi, this is Byron Scott. Hey, what's going on? This is Kobe Bryant.
This is Nick Swaggy P. Young.
After every Lakers game, your first chance to react is only here on the home of Lakers basketball. LA's sports leader, ESPN LA 710.